Let's talk about the most interesting matchup coming out of the East, the Montreal Canadiens versus the Washington Capitals. And hopefully by the end of the video, I will have convinced you this is probably one of the most interesting matchups. I'm not saying it's going to be the best. I'm just saying it's going to be neat. Let's go ahead and break down the battle of 1 versus 8. Washington is 2-0-1 against the Habs this year. They have the better record in the NHL. They have the best record in the East. They may be the President's Trophy winners when all is said and done. They are an absolute juggernaut this year, tearing through the NHL. But the Montreal Canadiens, they are on an absolute heater, and they got some big reinforcements coming in with Ivan Demidov, and I'm going to talk about it closer to the end of the video. The Montreal Canadiens have been a streaky team this year, but they're heating up at the exact right time. Florida, the Big Cats, win. Florida, win. Boston, win. Philadelphia, win. Nashville, win. Detroit, win. But then they lost to the Ottawa Senators.
Little guy. I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
Good enough for me. You're my man now.
It's also critical to note that they have been streaky as well. They have a 5-game losing streak here, and this kind of tells the story. Take a look. Wins come in bunches, losses come in bunches for the Habs. Washington, on the other hand, though, has been on a little bit of a downslide since the Winnipeg Jets beat them back on March 25th. They lost to the Jets, they lost to the Wild, they lost to Buffalo. Seriously, what is with good teams losing to Buffalo? World beaters. They beat Boston, they lost to Carolina, they beat Chicago, they lost to New York, and then they beat Carolina in overtime. This type of record doesn't inspire me with a ton of confidence heading towards the playoffs, but their goaltender and one of their best players in Logan Thompson was injured through a small stretch of that, and he should be coming back. Injuries have played a little bit of a role for a veteran team like the Washington Capitals. Ovechkin's on load management going into the back half of the season. Quick day off here for him. Protas and Chychrun also a little bit banged up. Washington also boasts the most goals per game in the NHL. But the Montreal Canadiens are surging and coming in mid-pack. Goals against, Washington comes in at tied for number 8 with 2.72. Montreal a little bit further down the list at number 24. Power play, which is going to matter, it's 12 versus 21 at 23.7 for the Caps, and Montreal coming in at 20.4. And overall, that's a little bit interesting because Washington is going to heavily focus on physicality and the power play to win in this series. They're big, they're mean. Tom Wilson is one of the toughest guys in the NHL, and he has a surrounding list of complementing players that are also big, also bad, including Ovechkin, who is one of the all-time greats at throwing hits. Washington is not only going to try to beat up the smaller, quicker Montreal Canadiens, but they're going to try to drag them into the mud, into the deep waters, as you will, get them to take sticking penalties, bad penalties, and retaliatory penalties, and bury them on the power play. Montreal, conversely, is going to focus on speed, on the rush, and on controlling the puck in the offensive zone. They want to keep the puck off the Washington Capitals stick, and Montreal is much faster at playing hockey both with the puck on their stick and with the puck off their stick than the Washington Capitals. Now, I know Montreal has their big players. They got Wi-Fi. They've got a couple big guys in the back end there. The difference between the two is that a lot of Washington's big players are going to play big minutes. Tom Wilson's going to be out there for 18 to 22 minutes a game. He's coming in with a boatload of goals. He can put pucks in on you, but he can also beat you up. A guy like Jack Guy is going to play in your bottom 6, and if you put him out there too often against the Tom Wilson, Connor McMichael line, or if Tom Wilson ends up playing with the Ovechkin, Dylan Strome line, we'll see what happens, you could end up getting burnt for a goal. So remember, it's never just a battle of putting tough guy against tough guy. When you have a tough, skilled guy like Tom Wilson, you got to be very, very careful because he will bait you into the box and then he will go ahead and score a goal on you. He won't necessarily have to pick up a fight or beat you up. And he will also end up picking on some of your skill guys. So guys like Caufield, guys like Suzuki, Slafkovsky, they're about to go into deep waters with a guy like Tom Wilson and the rest of the big bad Washington Capitals. So how do their systems work? Washington relies on a quick strike mentality. They take the puck from either side, they hit it to their defensemen who end up setting up almost similar to a power play in a 1-3-1, and then they put pucks on net and try to clear in with the rebound or directly in through screens. This team spends very little time trying to control the puck in the offensive zone. They're looking for quick strikes to put it in the back of the net, finish it, and catch their opponents off guard. In the neutral zone, when they're causing rushes, they also like to go ahead and bump the puck up to the wall and then over to their defenseman, who's going to end up creeping in. Jacob Chychrun is huge for this, but the entirety of the Washington Capitals do like carrying the zone with their defenseman. This is going to cause a cluster for the young Montreal Canadiens at the blue line. They're going to back in, and that is going to allow Washington to execute their quick strikes we just talked about. And then finally, you know what? They just kind of leave the zone. All three of their players leave the zone quick and early as the defenseman looks to either pass the puck up the middle or quickly down the boards with a high off the glass. They don't like to spend a lot of time carrying it up like Montreal. This is the exact opposite. Just throw it up the boards, send three guys down the middle, and get the puck out of your zone. Montreal, conversely, likes to control the play, and they like to go low to high. They like to see guys like Lane Hutson sneaking in here as he does. The puck will usually end up bumping high, coming down low with Hutson, and then as Hutson gets that half wall, he's either going to shoot or move it over to F3 in the middle. This can cause all kinds of confusion for defensive players in the defensive zone. It causes switches, it causes mismatches, but it can also cause a risk, and this is vulnerable to get counterpunched by that Washington Capitals quick breakout. If Hutson or any of the defensemen or forwards cause a turnover doing a play like this, Washington's quick strike offense from that zone is going to see three forwards going the other way. You're going to have a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-1 against likely a forward or a single defenseman, and it's going to be very risky and tough for Montembeault. Conversely, though, for the Montreal Canadiens, this is going to help them keep zone possession and control. It allows them to do what St. Louis does, which is make the best play and put pucks in the back of the net. When entering the zone, they're very similar but different in terms of theory to the Washington Capitals. It's usually a quick regroup up the wall, and then it's a bounce back to the middle of the ice. This again does push those defensemen back, and it gives you that zone entry that you so desperately need when you're any team in the NHL, creating time and space from that gap. And then special teams, which are going to be so important. I mean, what do you want me to say? Feed Patrick Laine on the left side, feed Ovechkin on the left side. You know the puck is going over there. You just can't stop it when it gets on their stick. Conversely for Montreal, though, on the right side, you're going to see them playing 4-on-3. They're basically going to force, when Laine doesn't have the puck, to bump a defender over to here so they can play 4-on-3 in this tiny little zone with Caufield, Suzuki, and Slafkovsky and Lane Hutson, and they're going to get pretty. They're going to get cute. A lot of regroups down here, a lot of movement, and that can be the undoing for the Washington Capitals if they end up in the box. And Washington is going to end up in the box. You don't play physical hockey without taking penalties, so it is going to be critical for Montreal to score on these power plays when given the opportunity. Very simply, Washington is going to try to drag them, as I've said twice now, into deep water. Big hits, slashes, hooks behind the play, hurt them, bruise them, hit them often, take the penalty, try to kill it. You're becoming a mental assassin or ninja by beating up the smaller Montreal Canadiens in Game 6 and Game 7. It's going to pay off big time for Washington, so I think it is hypercritical if Montreal is going to win this series for them to score early and often on the power play, especially in the first 4 games, and try to get a series lead quickly, because if Montreal does get a 2-game series lead on Washington, you may see Washington calm down some of that physical play because they're going to have to start playing skill to catch up. It'll be really interesting to see the head games these two play with each other in the playoffs. The low to high, you're going to see it move back to Hutson here. Hutson receives that puck up high, bang, it ends up going down low again, and then look who sneaks in there again. Yes, it is Lane Hutson, so we've gone low to high twice. It's impressive when you see this kid work, and this is that system working in real time. Hutson ends up down in that corner, and this is the spot where if a puck ends up turning over, you have a defenseman that is down really low, and it can go in the back of your net. Bang, let's go ahead and move it wide. Let's move it wide again, and it comes back for Nick Suzuki. Look, I can't let these clips run super fast. YouTube gets angry, whatever it is, but it just proves my point of how the low to high works and how that zone confidence is going to work for the Montreal Canadiens scoring on the Washington Capitals. Conversely, here's a turnover high at the corner, exactly what I was talking about, that you can put these in the back of the net. It's a quick little battle for the puck here in the corner. Montreal's pressing. They lose it. Here comes that veteran presence. It's Alexander Ovechkin, the great 8. And now we can see the confusion here from Montreal. This is that quick strike offense here from the Washington Capitals. There's a quick turnover from a fumble at the blue line, halfway down the wall. We end up finding it. Bang, it's in the back of your net before you can even blink. So if Montreal has the ability to make the right play and to keep that puck on their stick, they're going to do damage and they're going to score against Washington. And Montreal has only gotten better at that as the season has gone on. However, Washington remains consistent at being able to turn over pucks, quick strike, get you on the rush, and take you into those deep waters for those power plays. All right, Ivan Demidov. He's shown up. 5th overall pick. Really, really skilled player. 19 years old. Montreal fans are jacked up for this guy. However, Montreal fans, I find sometimes analysts really cater to you. So yes, he's good. Yes, he's coming in. Same draft year as Macklin Celebrini. He had a pretty good year in Russia. Well, he had a pretty good year in Russia, Ryan. Fine. Tell me more bad things about the Habs. There's nothing bad to say about him. I'd be so excited to have a guy like this on my team. The difference is he's 19 years old. He's coming from the big ice, which is a completely different game than the small ice at the NHL. I'll show you in a minute. I have receipts. He's got a wicked shot. He's an amazing vision. He's a very good passer, almost underrated. You're going to see a lot of highlights about goals that he puts in. I think it's his passing that makes him very good. St. Louis is going to love having a player like this, but so late. He's already played 70 games. Where do you fit him in the lineup? In the top 9. He'll probably end up in the top 6, but can he acclimatize to the North American game fast enough, into this locker room fast enough to make a huge difference for Montreal? I'm not sure. What do you do with Montreal's power play? It's been successful enough. Which person do you take off to put Demidov in? These are all going to be very big questions. You want him on your team. He's going to plug in, but is he going to be the savior that ends up winning a cup? I'm not sure. I'm really excited to see it though. All right, here we are. This is Demidov. We're in the KHL. He's got the highlighter on him. We're going to end up seeing a quick little turnover. It's going to be a sweet goal. The puck ends up going this way. I stop it here because Demidov is on the back check. That's fine. This is just really interesting difference between how the leagues are played. Quick turnover. First thing you're going to notice here and why it is different. He's not in the play, but certain things happen in this league that don't happen in the NHL. First, you're going to see a lot of reaching sticks and a lot of big gap. Second, the goal of the KHL is puck possession. It isn't dump and chase. So your goal is to keep the puck on the stick, push these guys back as far as you can, make little bump plays. And the goal of the defenseman on this one isn't to overcommit. Just wait and be patient, wait and be patient. Here we go. Reaching sticks. We've entered the zone. Quick little pass and whoop. Nice. Fine. Quick little turnover. That's what we got. It's a totally different game. And we flip the puck up the wall. From there, Demidov is walking in. And here's where he's absolutely vicious and why people are so excited. Bang. Puts in just an absolutely gorgeous goal here. But the point of the clip is to show you that it's a totally different league. Yes, there are going to be opportunities where he ends up in 2-on-1s or 3-on-1s or alone on breakaways, and he's going to be able to use that supreme skill. But in the NHL, you got to back check better than that. You can't just wait for turnovers. He was doing a lot of hanging back. Yes, I saw him skating backwards, but I'm just so interested to see how he converts to the NHL game. These guys are bigger. These guys are faster. These guys are better. The game is completely different. It's about taking away time and space in the NHL as quickly as possible and creating 2-on-1s. In the KHL or in big ice, it's about puck possession and keeping them to the outside as defenders and waiting for the team that has the puck to make the mistake. These are totally different games played under the illusion that they're both hockey. Yes, they are, but man, is it different. So some players have done a better job at converting to this, and I'll be so interested to see how this kid does. He has all the skills that you need. He's got the speed, he's got the heads up, he's got the passing, but is he going to figure it out in time for the biggest moment of Montreal this year? And this goes to show he can play that style of hockey. So here's Demidov. We end up in the corner, and this is what I like to see. He gets on the right side of the puck. The right side of the puck means he's over here. He's between his goalie and he's between the puck. He's not over here waiting for things to go poorly. So this is a very smart play by him. And then he gets really physical in the small areas. It's a 2-on-1 and he wins that battle. That is going to be huge on North American ice. So we just see an example here of him proving the concerns that I had earlier. He makes a nice little rim around the boards and then he sneaks in late. So I really like what he's doing here. This is going to translate well to St. Louis' game. We lose him a bit. The team has to cut it off. And here is the difference again in the KHL. You have so much time and space. In the NHL, yes, you would go ahead. You'd put all 5 of your players here and force them to pass the puck through the middle. If you can make it, great. You put the puck in the back of the net. So there's not much difference here. And bang, he puts it home. So to be completely transparent and fair, he may fit in totally perfectly into an NHL system. And a lot of super fans are going to say he is. I'm always nervous they can go both ways. It's very interesting to talk about because it's such a high-profile topic to have Alexander Ovechkin, the greatest Russian to ever play, to be joined by another young, electrifying Russian in the greatest game of hockey that there is, which is the NHL playoffs. It's going to be so neat to see these guys take a run at each other. They're both completely different players. There is no friendship when you're playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs, so I don't think there'll be anything more than a quick stick tap and a pat on the shins before the game and a nice sturdy handshake after. But this is going to be so unique to see these teams play against each other, and I think this Demidov narrative is going to dominate a lot of game one of the playoffs. So interested to see, but overall, I think we have enough data on both Washington and Montreal to see what's going to happen in this series. No, we don't, Ryan. It's the playoffs. Absolutely anything can happen, and luck is a major factor at times, even in 7-game series, which is true. So stay tuned. We'll break down these games, Hab fans. I think the Habs have much better than a puncher's chance to exploit Washington in this playoff series. I also think it could end up in deep water with the big, bad Washington Capitals beating up on the Montreal Canadiens. This could be over in 5. This could go to 7. And I do think there is a decent chance that Montreal could upset Washington. But overall, my head has to take Washington in this game, although my heart wants Montreal to take it and start the Cinderella story. You guys let me know down below in the comments who you think is going to take it in this series. I know it's going to be heavily biased to Montreal, and that's just fine. We love having you on this channel. Stay tuned. We will cover the Toronto-Ottawa series next.